Donald Trump says world peace is at stake after announcing new tariffs against countries opposing a US takeover of Greenland. He claims Russia and China are looking to acquire the Danish territory and it's not adequately protected. The US president has pledged to impose 10% tariffs on the 8 European countries who have signalled their dissent by sending troops for military exercises in Greenland. In a post on social media, the American president wrote, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands and Finland have journeyed to Greenland for purposes unknown. This is a very dangerous situation for the safety, security and survival of our planet. These countries who are playing this very dangerous game, starting on February the 1st, 2026, all of the above-mentioned countries will be charged a 10% tariff on any and all goods sent to the United States of America. On June the 1st, 2026, the tariff will be increased to 25%. Meanwhile, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, says Greenland is essential for America's national security.
With respect to Denmark, Denmark is a tiny country with a tiny economy and a tiny military. They cannot defend Greenland. They cannot control the territory of Greenland.
Thousands of people have been gathering in Denmark and Greenland to make their feelings known, protesting against the Trump administration's plans. In Greenland's capital, Nuuk, the demonstrators were led by the Prime Minister, Jens Frederik Nielsen, as they marched to the US consulate with flags and banners. David Blevins has more on the tariffs threat.
It is extraordinary when you consider that just a few days ago, President Trump was imposing tariffs on anyone doing business with Iran while he was weighing up his military options there. But in the context of NATO, it is an entirely different thing to threaten to impose tariffs on some of your closest allies. But President Trump has clearly been irked by a number of things, not least the fact that the foreign ministers of Denmark and Greenland came here to Washington this week and refused to buckle. Also, the fact that Denmark and some of its European neighbours have sent a number of troops symbolically to Greenland in the last couple of days, among them France, Germany, the UK, Norway, Sweden and the Netherlands. And of course, he will also be seeing pictures of the protests that have been taking place on the streets of Copenhagen, because this is, for people there, according to their foreign minister, a matter of sovereignty. And Lars Løkke Rasmussen says sovereignty is a red line. Greenland can neither be bought nor acquired, he says. But the president seems determined to press ahead, regardless of how this is playing out across the European Union and across the United Kingdom. And if you cast your mind back to April 2nd last year, the day he described as Liberation Day for the United States, when he imposed these sweeping global tariffs in a bid to address the trade deficit in the United States of America. It caused chaos in the markets and it hasn't produced the desired result at home, at least not yet. Now, since then, 2 lower courts here in America have ruled that the president doesn't have the authority to impose global tariffs. The Supreme Court is due to rule on that imminently. Now, the administration has always argued that he has the authority under an emergency power if it's to do with national security. But think carefully about that, because you've got to ask yourself the question, is a desire to seize territory that doesn't belong to the United States a matter of national security? It's interesting timing, given that the Supreme Court is about to issue its judgment on this issue.